Hello.
Okay. In the last class, we discussed about JSON
Yes.
and also about the HTTP request, right?
Yes.
So every request contains
A
a
domain
domain,
and a
a
method.
resource, a method, and
Yes.
headers, and also a request body, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we saw how the GET request will be, right?
Yes.
And also we saw how the POST request will be. Okay, so apart from these, we also have lot many HTTP request method, like around 9, I think so. Okay, we have get, post, put, patch, or head, and delete is also there.
Okay.
Okay, so these are the ones. Get, post, put, head, delete, patch, and options. Okay, so post we will use mostly to update or create any record which has, which can contain the data with, it can hold much data. Okay, larger data we can send by using post. By using get, we won't be able to send, since whatever the data that we are going to send using get, we must send only in the URL. Okay, so URL has a limit of, I think 1048 bytes limit is there, or characters limit is there. So we won't be able to send much data by using the get.
Okay.
Okay, so put is something, it is similar to post, but mostly we use it in order to perform or create any resource, right? Like put an employee means we are going to create an employee new record at the server side. Okay, head. What is this head? Head is almost identical to get, but without response body. Okay, so whenever you will call get users, right, it returns a list of users. But in case of head, it will make some request, but it will not return the list of users. Okay, so far in my career, I didn't use head method anytime. Okay,
Okay.
so next we have delete, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Delete is something that we are going to delete a resource at the server side. Like example, delete an employee or delete a user, right? In that case,
Okay.
you can use the delete method. Okay, options. Options method describes the communication options for the target resource. Okay, next also we have patch, right?
Yes.
Okay, patch method is used to update any existing resource, okay, that lies at the server side. Like we have an employees, right? Already employee created. If we want to update an existing employee, right? So in that case, we can go for the patch. Okay, so next we will see about the response. Is there anything? HTTP request headers, right? Okay, request headers. Okay, these are the typical set of headers. So here you can see host, user agent, accept language, accept encoding, referrer, and also connection, upgrade in secure requests, if modified since, if none match, cache control. Okay, these are the some of the request headers. So if you see for example, accept star headers indicate the allowed and preferred formats of the response that the request supports, right? That it will send the indication to the server, like I'm supporting these many types of formats, right? That it is saying to the server. Okay, in the same way we are going to send the information. Okay, next we will see the response, right? Yeah. So the response contains the protocol, and next is the status code and the status text version. Okay, so the HTTP status code of the response is 200. Okay, 200 is nothing but successful. The request was successful. Okay, so and also it contains the HTTP response headers. Okay, the headers are set cookie and the content type, content length, date, which server it happened, and the connection. So these are the some of the response headers. And also we will have the response body, right? Here the response body is HTML since the content type is text/HTML. So response codes. Okay, we have 100 to I think 599 we have the response codes. Okay, the response codes will be something like 100 to 599. Okay, so which are having one triplex means 100, right? 100 to 199. Correct? 100 to 199 are informational. Okay, it means the request has been received and the process is continuing. Okay, this is the 100 to 199. Okay, next we have 2 double X, which means 200 to 299. Okay, which means the action was successfully received, understood, and accepted.
Okay.
Okay, so under 200, we have some of the response codes, right? So it is 200 means the request is okay and successful. Okay, 201 is something like if we are creating any resource, right? That time we can send a response like 201 created. Okay, 202 accepted. Whatever the request we sent, that is accepted, but the processing may take time. Okay, so these are the some of the response codes underlying in 200. So next, 3 triple X, right? Redirection. Okay, what is meant by redirection? So it means further action must be taken in order to complete the request. Okay, so we have, I think, some of the 300 things. Okay, so suppose if we have one company, right, like first who was invented Java? Which company was invented Java or found Java? Do you know?
No.
Sun Microsystems, right?
Okay.
Correct?
Yeah.
You may have heard.
Yes.
So now Java is having or held by whom? Or this company was acquired by whom? Right? Now Java is maintaining by which company?
No.
Oracle, right?
Black.
Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now whenever assume this Sun Microsystems got acquired by Oracle, right? So this Sun Microsystems will have one website, right?
Mm.
Okay. Now Oracle will have its own website. So what they will do, right? Whenever we are trying to hit the Sun Microsystem, they will redirect to Oracle.com. Since the Sun Microsystem was acquired by Oracle, right?
Mm.
Understood?
Yes.
So in that case, our 300 related response codes will be useful. Understood? So
Yes.
like you can try that. It will redirect to any website. So next we have 4 double X. Okay, so 400 to 499. Okay, which are the client errors? Okay, like if user sends a bad request, right?
Mm.
The server did not understand the request. Okay, in that case, you will get 400 bad request. Like assume you have a users, right, in the database. Now we have a users of 100 to 199 user IDs, right? Now, if I am trying to update a user with 500 or 5000, 500, 555 with a user ID of user update user with user ID 5555. Now, is this 5555 user ID is available in our system?
No.
No, right?
No.
So, which means whatever the request that we are sending is a invalid request, right?
Yes.
Understood? So,
Yes.
yeah, so we have to send a response code of 400 by saying bad request. Correct? Yeah. Next one. 401 unauthorized. What is meant by 401 unauthorized?
Because page needs a username and a password.
Yeah, so
Okay.
have you received any time unauthorized? Like you have a
We have
login
a log
screen.
page.
Correct. Login
And
page or login
forgot
screen.
to login ID and password and directly click on submit. It gives us this error.
Okay. Correct. In that time, it will give 400 bad requests. Since you don't have username or password entered so far. Correct?
Yes.
But if you entered the username and password. But what happened? These two are invalid, right? Username and password. In that case, the server, what it will say, it will send a response code of 401 unauthorized. Clear?
Yes.
Yeah. So next we required 404 not found, right?
Yes.
Like suppose I am trying to get a user which is having ID of 5555. So is this user exists in our system? No, right? Yeah. So what we will tell, we will tell a response like 404 not found. So these are the some of the mainly used response status code, and also we have one more thing, 5XXX server error. Right, like suppose we are getting some error from server side, right?
Yeah.
So this is the server error. Okay, so like suppose 500 internal server error. Okay, this is the mostly status code. We will see if we are not able to handle the request properly. Okay, like sometimes what will happen, if you have a multiplication is there, assume, okay? So for multiplication, sorry, division. Okay, the operation division requires two numbers, right?
Yes, number 1 and
Number 2. Okay, we are sending these two from our client side in the form of request. Once we send this request, right? Okay, what the server will do? It returns the division value, right?
Yes.
So now number 1 by number 2. Okay, if server did not handle properly, what will happen? You will get an exception, right? If we send 0 as a denominator, correct?
Yes.
So in that case, what you will get? You will get 500 internal server error. Okay, something like maybe system down or any errors from the code, right? All these will comes under the 500 errors. Okay, so these are the mostly used response codes. Okay, 500 and the 401 and 404 and 400.
Okay.
And in case of 300, I think I didn't see anyone so far. For 200 is the mostly used one. Okay, and 201 also. Okay, now, okay, so backend are, we have a front end and backend team, right? You had front end team and backend team. So what the backend team will do?
Handle database.
Okay, handle only database.
Yeah.
Okay, they will develop the APIs, right?
Okay.
API development, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So this API development they will do. What the front end team has to do? They have to integrate this API to our application, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What API contains? API contains, they can develop by using the SOAP or REST APIs. Okay, REST is nothing but representational state transfer. Okay, currently most of the organizations are doing the REST-based services development. Okay. So what they will give? They will give the API information. Okay, what this API information contains? It contains the URL, request information, and response information. Okay, so we'll see some of the online APIs, right? Okay, so we are going to use the tools called Postman. Have you heard Postman? So PY. Okay, these are the some of the tools that we are using in order to invoke the API. Okay, so we have an API called request response.in. Okay, so in this real responses. So now get list users, right? If I click on here, API user slash page 2, right? Question mark page 2. Here what you can say, request parameters, right? Whatever the page you are seeing. Okay, we are getting response 200 back. So I will open the Postman. Okay, you can install from the okay. So first home, skip and go to the okay. So new you are seeing it. Click on new.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have HTTP request, some WebSocket request, collection, environment, workspaces, something like that. Go to the HTTP request. So what it contains? It contains every HTTP request contains request method, right? These are the request methods. Okay, under this you have get, correct?
Yes.
So here you are seeing list users. What is the URL? API slash. This is the main URL, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Slash API slash users also we can get. If we hit it, what will happen? We are getting the response, right? Are you seeing? It is of type JSON. Headers.
Yes.
These are the response headers. In this you will have the content type, correct? Content type is the application slash JSON, right?
Yes.
So, okay. So the content type for this response is the JSON, correct?
Yes.
So, and the body is the one which it sends back for us. You can see you have this many users, right? Correct. Next. And headers. You can see the headers. So, if I put page is equal to 5, right? Now it will act as a query param, right? Are you seeing the same in query parameters?
Yeah,
See here, the page got added, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So sometimes it is required to give authorization, okay? So if you have a basic auth, correct? Okay, basic authorization is nothing but username and password you have to give. Okay. Sometimes you will have OAuth authentication. Correct?
Yeah.
In that case, you have to use the bearer token. Okay. So we can save this request inside of any collection. Create a collection. Saved. I saved this. Okay, so now if I want to share this requested details, right, to my other team or any colleagues of my team, right? So what we can do it, we can save this as a JSON export, right?
Yeah.
Collection 2.1 recommended. It exports a JSON file, okay, to some location. Okay. Now, if anyone share our collection, right? So you can import that home. Sorry. Import here you can see, right? Import, upload file, open. It will import it. Put as a copy. You got the same thing. So mostly they will share you the JSON file. You have to import it. Okay. Okay. Now it is time to understand how to get the information from server, right? Like I have this user details, right? I want to display these users whenever user click on any button, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So for this we have an Ajax, right? Have you tried any example on Ajax? Okay, Ajax is nothing but asynchronous JavaScript and XML, correct? Okay, which is a, sorry?
It is synchronous of JavaScript and
XML.
Okay.
Okay. So by using Ajax, we can perform any request, right? So you can see Ajax is a set of web development techniques using many web technologies on the client side to create asynchronous web applications. Okay, by using Ajax, we can get the information from the server. Okay. So now, in order to perform any Ajax call, right? So we require a XML HTTP request object.
Okay.
Okay, browsers define their HTTP API on XML HTTP request class. Okay, in order to invoke any HTTP API, we have to rely on this XML HTTP request class. Next, each instance of this class represents a single request or response pair. Single request and response pair. Next, the properties and methods of the object allows us to specify the request details and extract the response data. Okay, by using XML HTTP request object properties and methods, we can able to perform request and also we can able to get the response details back. Okay, so our first step is
HTTP.
we must have to instantiate the XML HTTP request object, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, how we can create XML HTTP request object? I will come just a minute. Okay, our first step is create the or instantiate the XML HTTP request object, correct? How we are going to create an object? By using new keyword, right?
Yeah.
XML HTTP request. Okay. Every HTTP request contains 4 parts, right?
Yes.
What is
A
that
domain,
one? Method,
a domain,
URL
resource,
or domain, request headers, and resource is nothing but a correct. URL is nothing but a resource.
resource. Domain,
Or domain and headers,
headers.
right? And request body, right? Now what we have to do? We have to specify all this information by using this request object, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So for that we have an open method on the request. Okay, what it will take? It will take the first parameter as a method, request method, and next the resource URL. Understood? Request dot open, right? First one, it takes the request method.
Okay.
Correct? Next, URL. Okay. So next, if we want to specify the request headers, correct? We have a set headers method. Set header, sorry. What it takes? It takes the, can you guess? Header name, right? Correct? Header value.
Yeah.
Okay. Once we specify the request details, what is our next step? We have to send the request to the server, correct?
Yes.
Okay, for that we have request.send method. Okay, so if we have a request body, we can specify here, otherwise it is optional. Understood, right?
Yes.
So first we are going to create an object. Next we are going to specify the request method, URL, headers and request body. Okay. Next step. Once we send the request, our next step is retrieval of the response, right? Okay. So what is the retrieval of response? How we can get it? So every response contains status code, correct? Response headers and response body, right?
Yes.
Body. Okay. Okay, in order to know that, okay, when the response is ready or completed, right? So we must listen to one ready state ready state change event on the request object. Okay, ready state change events on the request object. Okay, to understand this request object, we must understand the ready state property. Okay, so this ready state property will have some values. Okay, so constant and value and meaning. Okay, first one is unsent. Okay, unsent, the value is 0. Okay, the meaning is open has not been called it. Okay, whenever we are trying to get information for this ready state, right? If we didn't call open method, right, that time you will have a value of unsent on the ready state property. Correct?
Yes.
Next, open. Opened you have 1. Okay, so what it will tell? Open has been called. Okay, next. Headers received. Okay, so it contains 2, right? It will say that headers have been received from the response. Next we have loading and done, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, loading value we have 3, right? Here it will say the response body is being received, not yet received. Understood?
It's being received. Yeah.
Yeah, being received means it is in the process, right? Next, done we have. Okay, done value is 4. Okay, the response is completed. Okay, so the ready state change event triggered when every time the ready state property changes. Understood?
Yeah.
Triggers whenever this ready state property changes. Okay, which means whenever we call open method, that time you will see the open value. Whenever we receive the response, that time you will get the value as a 4 and it is done. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So now we have to see the one example how to get this user's information, right? Whenever I click on a button. So what I will do, I will quickly do it. Okay. So first I will create a HTML, right?
Yeah.
I will copy from here. This is old story only. Correct?
Yeah.
On click button, what I am going to do, correct? Okay, I will create one. Okay, Parvez. Okay, this HTML job is over. So we have to copy this function, correct?
Yeah.
So function get user details, right? Okay, what is our first step? Create an object, right?
Yeah. Create an object.
Okay, what is our next step? Correct? What is our request method?
Request.
Okay, what is the URL? Following, right?
Yeah.
Am I going faster?
Mm-hmm.
No, right? Yeah, good.
Mm-hmm.
So next, request dot send we have to do, right? Now request has been sent. Now we have to go for one event, right? What I told, request dot on ready state change, right?
Yeah.
Are you seeing request dot on ready
This state change.
state change event? Okay, what it will take? It will take one function, correct? Okay. If request is completed, what you will get? You will get some values, right? I'll print this console.log request. Correct? We are not doing anything for the time being. Okay, so now let me run this. Okay, see the console, right? What happened? Is our method called or not? We don't know. It is called, right?
Yeah.
Now F10. Okay, now you can see the ready state value is 0. Are you seeing?
Wait.
Here.
Yeah.
So which means we have not yet called open method, right?
No, it's still an unset.
Yeah. Still? Yeah.
Hello.
Next one. Next. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I did not listen that last line.
Okay. So if you see the request, right, in that you have ready state change it to 1 now. Earlier it is 0, right?
Yes.
0 means
Unsent.
unsent. Open has not been called it, correct?
Yes.
Once open call, it is opened.
Yes.
Okay, request dot. Let me see whether I'm using proper property or not. It is a wrong value. Correct? We have to use the onReady statement properly. So let me refresh. Now get users. How many times you saw the value of our console log? 3 times, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So 2, 3, 4. Okay, 2 means what is 2? Headers has been received. Correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, headers has been received also. It gives the response back as well. Okay, so ready state 2. Next. 3 means loading, right? Okay, and also you got the response back. So next 4. 4 is the something that we have to
Done.
consider always. Okay,
Yeah.
it is done, right? So
Yes.
ready state is equal to 4. Correct? When 4 is there, which means
The response is completed.
completed. Okay, so now whenever the ready state change value is completed, we have to consider that time only we have to process the request. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, request dot ready state is equal to is equal to 4. Correct? Now how we can get the response? You can see response dot HTTP XML HTTP request object contains the property called response and response text. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so the response is nothing but it is in the form of HTML. Sorry, JSON. Okay, so somewhere you will see the headers. Okay, I'm not seeing where we have the response headers. Okay, fine. So now, once we received that ready state to 4, the response contains in this response property, and also you will have status, right?
Yeah.
Status is 200, which means successful. Okay, so what I will do, I will make if request dot status, correct, is equal to 200, which means it is successful. Correct? Then what I will take request dot response back. Correct? Now if you refresh it, you will get the information back as a JSON. Correct? Now if you want to get any response headers, right? For that we have get response header method. Okay, this can be called on request object XML HTTP request object. Get response header of what I will pass content type. Let content type is equal to, right? Okay, console.log of content type. Okay, now if we refresh it, if I click on it, you can see the content type, application/JSON. Correct? We can pass any response header to this method. You will get the content type. Sorry, that response header information, you will get it. Based on the header name, you will pass it. Okay, now I want to display this information into my UI, right? Into the UI.
UI.
Where I can write? Yeah.
Okay.
So we are getting the user's information, correct?
Yes.
But unless and until you display to the user, then only you will get to know, right?
Yeah.
So after getting the response, what we have to do? We have to process the response, right? Correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm going to write logic inside of this method. Correct? Process response. What I'm going to pass? I will pass request.response. Correct? Function process response method. It takes the response back. Correct?
Yes.
Now we have the users. What I'm going to do? I'm going to display this user details inside of one div. Okay. I want to, if you see the result, right? Each user will have what information? ID, email, first name, avatar, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what I will do, I will create one static first. Correct? Div class is equal to users or user. Okay. So in under each div, what I want to do, I want to display the image of this user. Correct? /img. Next, what is this image URL? Take a name one.
URL.
Correct?
Yes.
Okay, next step. I'm going to take the first name and last name. Right? What is the first name? Janet Weaver. Correct. Next, I'm going to take the email, right? Okay, I'm going to close my div tag. Correct. If you refresh the page, you will see the
Image.
some image, right?
Yeah.
So what I will do, I will apply some CSS. Correct. I want to do styling, right? Style. Okay, I want to make the image as rounded. Sorry, border radius 50%. Correct. If you refresh it, understood? Yeah. Next, I want to apply some styles my user div, right? Okay. What I want to give some background color. Okay, some color. Okay, just I think next one. Text align center, right? Do we need to specify like this? Is it option? Okay. Next. I want to give some padding top. You know, padding top. So that it will give some padding, right? Now, so what happened?
Okay.
Understood, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So next, if you want to give some box shadow, you can give that as 10 pixel RGBA. Okay. You saw some shadow, right?
Yeah.
You can give some both pixel. Yeah, you can see, right, that border, okay, border radius. Okay, so in this way we can create the CSS, right? So with the I do 30%, it's good. So what we have to do? Padding top we have to give, correct?
Yeah.
Padding top for what? For H3 if you give, right? It looks good. Okay, padding not top, bottom. Correct, like this we can play with the CSS part. Now, width instead of 20%, I'll do it 100 pixel. Okay, you have to increase to 400. Okay, now we got created one user, right? Now I want to do it this information dynamic. Now it is static, correct?
Yeah.
So the static one is this one. I want to make it dynamic. So now you have the response back with you, correct?
Yes.
In the form of JSON, right?
Yes.
The text is in the form of JSON. What is your next step? You have to convert the JSON to object, right?
Yes.
What is the method to convert JSON to object?
JSON.parse.
Parse, exactly. So response now JSON dot parse response where response obj is equal to, correct?
Yes.
We got the response back. Next, once you got the response back, what is your next step? You have the response object with you, correct?
Yeah.
Now what you have to do? Where you have all user details inside of your response object, right? Yeah. Correct?
Oh,
Under response, yeah, sure. Where your data lies or users lies, where it is available. Under your response object, we have gathered, right, all the information.
Yes, yes.
Okay, each object contains properties, right?
Yeah.
Okay, inside of that property, you have one property called data, correct?
Yes.
Are you seeing? Okay. This data contains an array, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now I want to convert. Yeah, I want to convert this array to this way, right?
Yeah.
Are you following?
Yes.
Now you have to tell me how to do this. Which method we have to take? You have data inside of your array, right?
Yeah.
Response object dot data dot map.
Of map.
Are you following? Return. Correct?
Yeah.
So what I will do, I will copy this stuff. Now, in each user, what you have?
User details.
User details, correct. Yeah, ID, email, right? So SRC is something that we have to take it from this avatar, right? Property, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
How we can do it? Understood? Next, first name, last name we have to take. How? User dot first underscore name.
Name.
Next, what is the next one? Correct?
Yes.
What is the next one?
Email.
Email, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Next, our step is done. Created, we converted an array to div array, right? Now in this array you have all these users div, correct? Now what is your next step? We have to show in the UI, right?
Yeah.
Which means we have to append the divs to this results div, correct?
Yes.
Or how we can do it? Document dot get element by ID of results, right?
Yeah.
Dot inner HTML is equal to next step users div. Each users div we have to add to this inner HTML, correct? Users div dot join now. If I refresh it, syntax error, unexpected token return. Why? So we have to do it like correct. Now if I click on it, so why we are getting only one? Okay, we got
Oh, I
we got all right.
Yes.
Just we have to put it properly side by side. Okay,
Yeah.
you can try that. So clear? Any doubts?
No.
No, right? Okay. Tomorrow we'll see about the callbacks. Okay. Okay. Now, I think I have this. Okay, so I have displayed the users, right? You have to display this employees. Okay.
Okay.
Can you try this? Okay, here
Yeah.
profile image is not there. What you can do, you can put one image for all. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will ping this information. Do you want any code, or will you be able to search in the net?
I'll be doing it.
Okay, sure. Okay, good. So if you have any doubts, you can just tell me tomorrow. I'll explain.
Okay.
Okay. So, okay, that's all for today's class. Tomorrow we'll meet with the new topic called timeouts and intervals and callbacks as well. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye.